Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 341.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about 3 ways millionaires think differently. I love to talk about mindset, and I can't wait to share this article with you that has 3 specific things that millionaires do to think differently so we can get you on your path to thinking like a millionaire. But before we get started, I wanted to let you know about another awesome podcast called Profit Boss Radio. Profit Boss Radio is hosted by MBA and certified financial planner Hillary Hendershot, who highlights inspiring women who have created success in their financial and professional lives. Each week, you can tune in and hear how women have paved the road to sustained success with both beliefs and actions. Check it out at ProfitBossRadio.com. I found this article in Entrepreneur magazine at entrepreneur.com, and it's called 3 Ways Millionaires Think Differently Than You. Changing your mindset changes everything else. Well, is that not what I teach? Step 1 of the 6 steps to wealth, creating a wealthy mindset. So when I saw this article, I thought, this is something great. It gives a little bit of a different perspective on mindset than what I normally talk about, and I thought it would be interesting to bring it to you. So this was written by Miko Patton, who says, what would you say is the most powerful thing in the world? And what would you say if I told you that you already possess it? You were born with it. It was given to you freely, yet you often discount it. You take it for granted. What is it? Let me give you a hint. It weighs less than 3 pounds and is more powerful than any supercomputer. You guessed it, it's your brain. More specifically, your mind. Have you ever thought about the amount of things you change during your lifetime? You change your job, your address, your hair, your clothing, your spouse, your friends, your salary, your attitude, your behavior. But if you don't change your mind, meaning your mindset or your dominant way of thinking, you will perpetuate the same experience over and over again for the rest of your life, because everything about you outwardly changed, but nothing inwardly about you changed. Nothing in the world can rival a changed mind. Okay, can I just stop right there and say I love everything she just said? Because it's so true. We change all of our external things. We worry about how we look on the outside, but we're not working on the inside. And when I was 10 years old, I just happened to come across a lot of books about mindset and thinking. My dad gave me Think and Grow Rich. That started me on the path. And I got other books like The Magic of Thinking Big and just some books about really belief. And it changed so much for me. And it really showed me that our mind is so much more powerful than we believe it to be. And I always like to share these kinds of ideas with you because I think it's the most important part of your wealth building is the part that's between your ears. So let's go on to see what else she has to say. Oprah once said, you need to start paying attention to your life and listening to the whispers. Quote, life whispers to you all the time, she said. Your life is speaking to you all around from the time you wake up in the morning and every single experience that's coming into your personal space. All of those experiences are speaking to you. They're telling you something about your life and about your circumstances. It whispers, and if you don't get the whisper gets louder, she continued. If you don't get the whisper when it gets louder, I call it like a pebble, a little thump, upside the head. The pebble or the thump upside the head usually means it's gone into a problem. If you don't pay attention to the problem, Oprah said, the pebble then becomes a brick. The brick upside your head is a crisis, she said. If you don't pay attention to the brick upside your head, the crisis turns into a disaster, and the whole house, the brick wall, comes falling down. That does not have to be you. So let's just stop there for a sec and talk about Oprah. I completely agree with Oprah. There are those whispers. I call them taps on the shoulder. We get taps on the shoulder all the time. And I I know this is a little woo-woo for some people, but I do love to talk about this. And the fact that, yes, there are things that, you were just thinking about something and then boom, it happens. Or you were really afraid of something and then it happened. There are things that our mind is causing to happen, and thoughts in experiments have been shown to create different things. For example, the double slit experiment talks about how the observer actually changes the result of the experiment. So the experiment, they shot particles through a slit, and on the other side was a screen, like a movie screen, and when no one was observing, those particles ended up in waves, like sound waves that we're used to. And when somebody observed them, though, they lined up in the line of the split, which is probably what the person expected, is that there would be a straight vertical line that imitated the line of the slit. So it showed that the observer actually changed the results of the experiments. What the expectations were actually changed the results of the experiment. So let's go on. Let's hear the 3 things that she talks about for optimal success. Number 1 is tune out your inner critic. In a talk at TEDx San Francisco, Mel Robbins, author and speaker, mentioned that scientists estimate the probability of you being born at about 1 in 400 trillion. That number is so big it's hard to comprehend. Wow, that blows my mind. Do you know what that means? It means you're engineered for success and designed to have high levels of self-esteem, self-respect, and personal pride. You are extraordinary. There has never been anyone exactly like you in all of history of mankind on Earth. You have amazing untapped talents and abilities that, when properly directed and applied, can bring you everything you could ever want or dream of. In essence, your very existence proves you are a miracle. Tune out the negativity and focus on the awesomeness that is you. I love what she wrote there, because we are all unique and special. I know you've heard that a million times before. Sometimes it's hard for us to believe it because we sometimes can get frustrated with ourselves. But turning off that inner critic is one of the best things you can do, and moving your mindset to a place that's more positive, getting into a higher vibration, getting into something that is going to help you see the possibility of what you can do. That's what I'm talking about, is staying on the positive side in the what's possible for you. Number 2, raise your standards. Tell me, what is the difference between something you should do and something you absolutely must do? Motivational speaker Jim Rohn said, quote, "The easy things to do are also easy not to do." In other words, the things you should do are the things that are easy not to do, so you don't do them. You should eat healthier, but you don't. You should exercise more, but maybe you don't. You should treat your spouse with respect, but still you resist, perhaps. But when you absolutely must do something, as if your life depended on it, then there's a shift and a change in you. If eating healthier meant you would live or die, then you most likely would do it. The same with exercise and treating your spouse with respect. If your life depended on it, you would make the necessary changes. When you raise your standards and turn should into must, you are making an inner shift to take control over the quality of your life. Any area in which you are not getting what you want is because you haven't raised your standards. Well, I love this point too, raise your standards, because when push comes to shove and you've got a gun at your head, you are likely to do things. That's why people who are often down and out turn it around, or often people who are having difficulties financially and then a baby's coming, they get their act together and suddenly their business takes off. I've seen that happen over and over and over again. So you definitely want to raise your standards. She goes on to say, according to Tony Robbins, most people, if they look at how they are living their lives today, will find that their identity is based on a set of standards and a set of beliefs they created 10, 20, 30 or more years ago. In fact, many of us made decisions when we were kids about what to believe, what we were capable of, and who we are as a person. And that became the glass ceiling that controls us. But are you the same person you were back then? Are you the same person you were even a year ago? No, you aren't. So step up and raise your standards. How many of us think about ourselves from back in high school even? You know, whether we were popular or not, whether we were pretty or not, whether we had dates or not. those things stick with us in our self-esteem, and they can go back to actually our high school years, and we're carrying them, like she said, 10, 20, 30 years out. And so you definitely have to work on your mindset. It's like a muscle that you have to exercise, and you have to work on it. You need to feed it positive information and give it possibility and beautiful pictures. That's why vision boards are often a very positive thing you can do. But also just, I find being on Instagram to be a very positive experience for me, because I curate very carefully the pictures that I look at, having them be abundant. And I've been over there enjoying that as if it's my own magazine that I'm curating, and it's a positive magazine with positive messages for me. So you can use simple technology like that as well. Number 3, practice relentlessly in private. Quote, people are rewarded in private for what they've practiced for years in private, Robbins said. If you want to one day think like a millionaire, you must hone and perfect your craft daily. Author Brendan Burchard said, make a practice of mastering skill sets. A practice is a recurring habit or routine that deepens your skill in any given area. Without daily exposure and immersion in the area you're trying to learn, you will never achieve mastery. Learning must be an everyday discipline. What are you practicing nonstop? What are you relentless about accomplishing? Let nothing deter you. You must push yourself. You cannot quit. Never ever give up. You have to think the thoughts you would be thinking if you were already achieving your goals, said author and speaker Jack Canfield. And if you were a millionaire already, what thoughts would you be thinking? That's the end of the article, but I love that you want to practice relentlessly. Practicing in private is also about just thinking as a millionaire, thinking that anything you want is affordable instead of saying, I can't afford this or I can't afford that. Don't ever use those words, I can't afford it. Take that out of your vocabulary. You can afford whatever you want. It's about what is your priority of spending? And I've created many podcasts talking about your priority of spending and making sure that matches up with how you are spending your money. Are you spending it on things that are important to you? If travel is important to you, are you saving and keeping your money ready for your next travel and finding good deals and good bargains for your next travel? Or are you blowing it on stuff that you don't really want, that's not really important to you, that's not really adding to your life, and that money is squandered? So prioritizing your money is super important. Practicing in private, practicing your millionaire thoughts, super important. Get some positive quotes, start reading some positive things, create your vision board or create your Instagram account that has some positive photos that remind you of beauty and prosperity. And these are things that you want to incorporate in your life every single day. If you haven't yet subscribed to the Be Wealthy and Smart podcast, hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified as soon as a podcast is uploaded. And if you haven't yet gotten my 11 quick financial tips to boost your wealth, go on over to lindapjones.com and pick up your 11 quick financial tips that will get your net worth growing faster. If we haven't yet connected on social media such as Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, I'm at Linda P. Jones on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm writing some great tips for wealth building over on my Instagram page, and also sharing more articles and ideas on Linda P. Jones' fan page on Facebook. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.